Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. We are going to have a 1 hour live stream. I'll be done at 7 p.m., 6:59 p.m. or 7 p.m. Pacific. To my super chat, I can't thank you enough. I can't do this without you. We are going to, so if you want to talk about the Durham probe, Trump, the latest Trump rally, the fact that Biden's poll numbers are tanking, the fact that the economy is not recovering, if you want to talk about economic issues, the Durham probe, President Trump running again because he's running again, anything you'd like on the super chat would be greatly appreciated because I can't do these without you. Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. Natural gas has doubled in terms of price in this country. It is 500 times the price in Europe. The entire world, because the original sin was people didn't listen to Sweden. That was the original sin. Everyone tanked and ended and prevented economic activity from taking place. It's almost as if they wanted to ruin every economy on the planet on purpose. But hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. This is Devin Nunes, ladies and gentlemen. This is Devin Nunes right here. Check it out. Very interesting.
The speaking indictment, it went beyond just charges. Usually that's like a 5 to 10 page indictment. This was more than double that. It was on 27 pages, and it laid out, possible evidence or possible information that he is pursuing. So he's going after basically the emails, the text messages, the bank records, the billing records, the meeting calendars and other documents that the law firm that represented the Hillary campaign. So there's so this is like Ken Starr. Ken Starr in the Whitewater case, he went after the Rose law firm billing records to find out what happened in Whitewater. It looks like he's doing the same. So when you look at the speaking indictment, Congressman, he's laying out information about Hillary's team using Internet Cyber Pro researchers who were working to protect the government, working with the Pentagon and DARPA to protect the government from cyber attacks, to instead basically deliver secret government data to take down Trump.
Yeah, I would say this. Think about it this way. Typically, lying to the FBI is used, and the reason you say it's a 5-page indictment is because typically that's when some of the FBI knocks. Yeah, but when you say a normal one is 5 pages, that's because FBI knocks.
So he's talking about, really quickly, this is interesting. He's talking about why it's a 27-page indictment and not just a 5-page indictment. They're going after more people. They're going after people who utilized government contracts at universities, for example, to obtain non-public internet data and utilize the data against Trump. They wanted a pretext simply to get people who were partisan in the intel agencies to go after Trump. So this is pretty interesting. Check this out. And he talks about how it's going to be a lot more people. So check it out. Indicted.
On your door, they're going after you for some major crime. They can't get it on you, and then they allow you to plead down. What this is very unusual because it's a 27-page indictment, as you said, a speaking indictment. But I think this is even worse because can you imagine a country where we have people who don't like their neighbor, who don't like their politics, can just walk into their local FBI field office and frame their fellow American citizen? That's what happened here. This is so beyond the pale of what the Clinton campaign and the DNC were willing to do. Quite frankly, it took a 27-page indictment, and people should not be downplaying it. This is not okay in America.
It was about the Trump organization.
So he's right, and this is exactly what they did. And we talk about this every night. They utilized the government to set up Trump. Okay? They had nothing on him. That's why they needed Sussman, and that's why they needed Christopher Steele, and that's why Democrats needed Fusion GPS, and that's why they needed Clapper and Brennan and Comey to utilize all of this nonsense, because the United States intel community didn't have any information detrimental to Trump. They didn't have any information detrimental to Trump. None of these people had information obtained or derived within the United States government, because then they would be liable. There was never any evidence when Chuck Todd interviewed James Clapper right before the Comey memos, okay? Right before the Comey memos in 2017, right before the Mueller probe started, when he interviewed James Clapper, Chuck Todd, he asked, "Do you have any evidence that Trump worked with Russia?" And James Clapper said, "Oh, to the best of my knowledge, we have no evidence. No evidence that Trump or his campaign conspired with Russia." Then you find out that they utilized the Steele dossier. They literally purchased a reason to investigate. They did not have a reason to investigate Trump. They then purchased a reason to investigate Trump. We have a $30 billion budget. A $30 billion budget. The National Security Agency, the FBI, and the Central Intelligence Agency together are over $30 billion. That's $30 billion for the three agencies that said Trump was working with Putin. They would have found something if he was actually working with Putin. They found nothing. So check it out. This is interesting.
Organization computers talking supposedly to to Russia's Alpha Bank, when the FBI said that was just Trump hotel marketing spam emails. So the question is,
so the Sussman indictment, the cybersecurity attorney working for the Clinton Link law firm, he helped start this Alpha Bank nonsense with the servers. People were writing about, publications were writing about a server, because, Clinton had top secret intelligence on her servers. People were writing about that there was back channel communications. Back channel communications from a server run by Trump in the Trump Tower. They found it was literally a marketing. It was just a marketing company that was utilizing the server like the way any marketing company would send emails. Okay? It had nothing to do with an espionage operation. They completely made up everything. They completely fabricated everything. They completely fabricated everything, and they got caught eventually. And now you'll have 2022 with Trump Republicans in the House. Payback is a you-know-what.
And going after Michael Sussman, the Democrat representative, the lawyer for the Democrats' Hillary campaign, he pleaded not guilty to an indictment. Is he trying to flip Michael Sussman in order to go after people like Jake Sullivan, Biden's NSA? We ran out of time there. We're so sorry, Congressman. We're going to have you back on again soon. It's good to see you.
So there's more to the interview, but it's interesting because he goes on to talk about. Nunes goes on to talk about the fact that they're going after Comey, McCabe, Strzok, Comey, Brennan. So it's interesting that we're still talking about this. The reason we're still talking about this is because everybody knows what took place. Everybody knows what took place. There's an awesome Maria Bartiromo interview. Hold on one second. I think that's what I was also thinking about too, where he talks about specifically Comey and McCabe. But this is really interesting. So hold on one second. Hold on one second.
The FBI's knowledge that the dossier was made up and the surveillance of Trump associates, which took place afterwards, was illegal. Nunes appeared on this program throughout the multi-year Russia hoax and was the first person to warn us that this collusion charge was phony years ago on this program. Who is the mastermind of the plan?
I was also saying it on my small YouTube channel, but Devin Nunes is the man. And in my writing, read my writing in The Federalist, okay? Rush Limbaugh, God bless him, before he passed away, shared a couple of one article in particular about why everything was linked to the Clinton campaign. One of my articles in The Federalist, he shared that on his show 2 days in a row. So definitely you can go to the hagoodman.com and read my writing in The Federalist. On the Durham probe, so you can read my writing on the Durham probe in the Federalist.
Plan to insert Donald Trump into Russia meddling, which we know Russia has been meddling for decades.
Well, I think we can say let's talk about what we know are facts, what we can say for certain. I think that's helpful. We know the Clinton campaign, number one, so they're aware of a lot of this, right? They're involved in the creation of the dossier. They're hiring Fusion GPS. They hire Christopher Steele. That's a fact. So the Clinton campaign's involved.
Joining me right now is Congressman Devin Nunes, the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee. Good to see you, Congressman. You were spot on right there. Thanks for being back with us. What do you say Durham's first indictment, or actually it's the second indictment, tells us about the broader investigation?
Well, this is just a never-ending story that the American people expect Durham to get to the truth, and they expect for DOJ to hold these characters accountable. Because the American people have lost trust in the FBI and the Department of Justice. At least half of the American people have. So this is a critical indictment because for years they've hid under privilege. Oh, these are lawyers, you can't talk to them. I think that's...
Once you get the attorneys as well, everybody has a different story. So everyone is at risk of committing perjury. The interesting thing with the attorneys is that you would think that they know the law. You would think that there have already been 2 attorneys indicted. There wasn't an attorney indicted in the whole Trump-Russia nonsense. It was always a process crime with people who were set up. So you got to ask yourself, if the attorneys don't know the law and they're getting indicted, imagine what will take place eventually with people like Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, eventually possibly Comey, Brennan, Clapper. But there's a whole bunch of, you have Kleinsmith and Sussman, 2 attorneys well, one, Kleinsmith broke the law. He pleaded guilty. The second person, Sussman, is getting very close now to everyone involved in Fusion GPS, including other attorneys in that law firm. So you have other attorneys in that law firm. Again, you have other attorneys involved in buying or purchasing the Steele dossier as an intermediary. Purchasing the dossier as an intermediary. I mean, the conflicts of interest were unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable to begin with. Thank you, Jimmy. Absolutely unbelievable to begin with. The conflicts of interest, having a law firm linked to the Democratic Party purchase a dossier, and then having the government, President Obama's administration, a Democratic Party administration, an outgoing Democratic Party administration, going after a Republican incoming candidate. And the worst part was that Republicans were on board with this.
That's what's taken Durham so long, is just because they've been hiding under, well, if you hire a lawyer, therefore those lawyers can't give up anything. So they used Perkins Coie law firm. Now these two lawyers are gone from Perkins Coie. One has been indicted, one has not. But that's why they were doing this, and it's really wrong. You can't use lawyers just to conduct dirty tricks to dirty up your opponent. And in this case, it went far beyond that, Maria. And I think this is really a test case, or a case study, so to speak, an educational process in how the swamp here really works. You basically create a story out of thin air. You spread it out to your media that you control.
So, again, I've talked about this endlessly. They didn't have any evidence that Trump worked with Russia. It was completely fabricated. It was part of the fever dreams of morally superior, really wonderful, apoplectic liberals and democratic, apoplectic liberals and never Trump Republicans. They had nothing on Trump. They didn't have servers with top secret intelligence. They didn't have a laptop with incriminating emails like Hunter. Okay? They had nothing on Trump. They literally had nothing on Trump. Not one thing. So they said, we're going to purchase an investigation. I have been saying this. Devin Nunes, Kash Patel, they are both heroes. Devin Nunes and Kash Patel are heroes. They are amazing, patriotic, heroic people. And Devin Nunes needs to be Speaker of the House. We saw Trump saying he's going to take back the country. I hope so. This country is descending into madness. Mashed potato brains is the second worst president of all time after Bush. And you have a fabricated lie told by intel operatives to media, and then media. See, the thing is, a lot of these indictments also utilize public record knowledge, and the articles that they utilize the information was being fed by operatives that wanted Trump or Trump associates to be indicted. Then you have, the biggest, look, we're going to continue with Devin Nunes, obviously. He needs to be Speaker of the House. He needs to be Speaker of the House. We can't have Kevin McCarthy. He's good, Kevin McCarthy, but he's not good enough. Not nearly good enough, because he's not as, he's not as strong as Devin Nunes. Okay? Democrats fear Devin Nunes and Jim Jordan. They fear Devin Nunes. They don't fear Kevin McCarthy. And Devin Nunes is like Nancy Pelosi. So Democrats walk in lockstep. Republicans helped set up and frame Trump. That's why, I have some friends that say, oh, well, the Republicans, well, I'm not a Republican, but I'm conservative on a lot more issues than I was prior to 2016 or 2017, 2018, when I said I'm voting for Trump. But the Republicans set up and framed Trump. I always tell, I have a friend who always says, I said the Republicans set up and framed Trump. The Democrats could not do what they did without Paul Ryan, Richard Burr, and John McCain and others, and Mitt Romney. Okay? If the Republican, Jeff Sessions is the worst attorney general of all time. I will say it again. Find me a Democratic Party attorney general from Robert Kennedy to Attorney General Loretta Lynch that actually investigated a Democratic president. It never happened, and it will never happen. It never happened, and it will never happen. It never, ever happened, and it will never, ever happen. Democrats will never, ever, ever, ever investigate an incoming Democratic president. That will never in a million years happen. It will never happen. Only Trump got the Sessions treatment. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I gotta recuse myself. For what? Because you spoke to Sergei Kislyak? Big deal. These people were petrified. Sessions was petrified by Al Franken, of all people. Al Franken, who couldn't frighten a bunny rabbit. Jeff Sessions was petrified. He was completely bullied by Al Franken. And he recused himself, which was the absolute worst, the absolute worst thing you could ever do. Because then you got Rosenstein and Bruce Orr and everybody else allowing Comey's memos to start a special counsel without a shred of direct evidence, and all the evidence being linked to Clinton and fabricated. That special counsel was a terrible moment in American history. It was completely illegal, but they got away with it. The Durham probe starts indicting higher level people. We'll find out that that special counsel, the Mueller probe, was completely and utterly illegal. And you had Jeff Sessions who allowed all of this. Doc Flex! I look forward to your videos. Very informative. Thank you. Thank you, Doc Flex. Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you, David. David Rivera, David Von Kettering, thank you, Davids. Doc Flex, greatly appreciate it. Starting it off, thank you, Doc Flex, thank you. Greatly appreciate it. Let's go on with Devin Nunes. Thanks, Doc, thank you.
And then you begin to feed this story around into the FBI, the DOJ, so it looks like it's real. And that's what's happened here. So I think if you go back and read that 27-page indictment, I would encourage all of your viewers to do it. You will really see how this place works, why it's so wrong, and why it has to stop. Because think of all the lives that have been destroyed in the businesses here. Whether it's the Trump campaign, all the people associated with it. You still have many Americans who have been poisoned by this, who think that Donald Trump had something to do with Russia, when in fact the opposite is true. It was the Democrats in the Clinton campaign and the Bidens who had something to do with it.
By the way, unfortunately, the Clintons and the Democratic Party and media won. They won with the help of Never Trump Republicans. They won. I'm telling you, they scored a victory, a tremendous victory in terms of propaganda. They never cared about being accurate or information. They cared about emotion. Propaganda is about emotion. Democrats and media don't run on information or logic or truth. They report and they fabricate and they promote half-truths or lies by omission. They will report half of a story. They will judge Trump by a standard they would never utilize against themselves. They demand any allegation against Hunter or Joe or any Democrat must have categorical ironclad proof. You cannot speculate, nor can you engage in innuendo or conjecture or hearsay or gossip. God forbid Clinton Cash is reported on as news that needs to be investigated. God forbid any book or article on Hunter from a Fox News pundit is utilized to begin an investigation. Oh my God, the indignation would be heard throughout the galaxy. If you allege anything, and thank you, Doc Flex, again, thank you. If you allege anything against a Democrat, you must have ironclad categorical proof. You must have... JG, hello! JG, exactly. Always a pleasure and an honor, JG. Thank you. The only allegations accepted by Democrats are allegations against Trump. The Atlantic article was a textbook example of propaganda. There was not one shred of evidence other than a source, someone said Trump disparaged fallen Americans. It was then utilized by Kamala Harris and Uncle Joe during the debates. They were never fact-checked on that. That was a complete and utter lie. That was a complete lie. You can't state that gossip and hearsay is a fact and then say, well, you can't prove it's not. All of these dumb books that are written about Trump, it's just, you know what these are like? Romance novels for wonderful, morally superior, apoplectic liberals. They touch themselves in ecstasy, reading about ex-staffers that want to make a buck or marry Trump or anyone associated with Trump who doesn't like him. That's why they love Michael Cohen, who's a convicted felon, who turned on Trump primarily because he got a much shorter sentence. They just want to hear about how bad Trump is from people who used to know him. Imagine if you had an ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend or an ex-best friend, and that person was in the news writing a book about lies and nonsense and gossip about you. And they made money off it. Imagine. Could you imagine? But they love that stuff. Oh, they love that stuff. They love lies and gossip about Trump because it shields them from the truth about themselves. Oh, they love lies and gossip about Trump. Born to raise hogs, thank you so very, very much. Born to raise hogs, thank you. Thank you. Born to raise hogs, thank you so very, very, very much. Thank you. As always, I can't thank you enough, Born to raise hogs. Thank you. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you, Born to raise hogs. Thank you. DH. It just popped up, but do you think this will lead to a massive domino effect? I think it will lead to more indictments. I'm not sure if, Clapper or Brennan or Comey will be indicted, but I think that very possible Andrew McCabe, so Born to Raise Hogs, Andrew McCabe, because James Comey himself and DH, thank you, DH, Andrew McCabe, Comey stated that he would actually testify against Andrew McCabe. He stated that. He stated he would testify against Andrew McCabe. Okay, James Comey has no problem testifying against his former deputy director. He has no problem testifying against his... He stated that on CNN. I'll find it right here. And so they're all turning on each other. They're all turning on each other. They're all turning on each other because they were all part They all conspired against Trump. They conspired against Trump, and it's like they did this. They all conspired against Trump because they said, look, we will never be caught. We will never get caught. And when you have that mentality that you will never get caught, you're capable of anything. You're capable of anything. So check this out really quickly. This is Andrew. This is James Comey, born and raised Hawk. DH, thank you. This is James Comey. This is James Comey testifying, or no, with Jake Tapper saying that he would actually testify against McCabe. Hold on one second. Hold on one second.
Would you be a witness for the prosecution?
Potentially. I don't know whether the reporting is accurate. I know it's CNN reporting, but I don't know.
Potentially. Okay.
Know it of my own accord. But sure, given that the IG's report reflects interactions that Andy McCabe had with me and other FBI senior executives, I could well be a witness.
You express a lot of horror.
So he says that he could well be a witness. Okay? He could well be a witness. 1953 Corvette. Repeat after me. Nothing ever happens. Embrace reality. That's true up until recently. 1953 Corvette, thank you. Look, Rome was not built in a day, and nothing... it could end with Sussman and Kleinsmith, but people broke laws. This is a special counsel. So... This is a special counsel just like the Mueller probe. This is a special counsel just like the Mueller probe. They never thought they could lose. They never ever thought that they could get caught. And so you're right, 1953 Corvette and born and raised Hawks, thank you. You're right, but they never ever thought they could get caught. That was the issue. The issue is that you have people who thought they were above the law. When you think you're above the law, you're capable of anything. When you think you're above the law, you're capable of anything, and when you convince yourself that you will never be caught, you're capable of anything. Now you have James Comey. This is why this is so important. Check this out.
The book, when public officials or even celebrities lie to investigators, whether David Petraeus or Scooter Libby, Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
So I would assume that you would be upset at Andrew McCabe. I haven't really heard you criticize him the same way you've criticized those others.
Well, I hope I didn't criticize them personally. I think it's very important.
No, the act, though.
Oh, sure. The act is one I take very seriously, and so does the Department of Justice. What's going on so far has been the accountability mechanisms of the department working, because it's a department that's committed to the truth, and so it's working. I don't know whether there's a criminal referral, what will happen, but that's part of accountability and examination of what the consequences should be if there was material lying.
But how do you feel about your former deputy, according to the Inspector General, lying to you, lying to investigators for a leak that the Inspector General said was only motivated to preserve his own reputation, having nothing to do with the FBI or the public's right to know?
They're conflicted. I like him very much as a person, but sometimes even good people do things they shouldn't do. I've read the report. I'm not the judge in the case. I'm not the discipline decision maker in the case. I think it is accountability mechanisms working, and they should work, because it's not acceptable in the FBI or the Justice Department for people to lack candor. It's something we take really seriously.
All right, so you have a situation where so you have a situation where they go ahead and turn on their closest associates They turn on their closest associates, okay? Because they know at the end of the day that if Comey can serve as a witness against McCabe, if Comey can serve as a witness against McCabe, okay, then he doesn't, if he can serve as a witness against McCabe, he's not going to get indicted. If James Comey on CNN, James Comey can serve as a witness against Andrew McCabe, he ain't getting indicted. This isn't rocket science. He knows that he's not going to get in trouble with any special counsel if he has the goods on McCabe and Strzok. Who do you think Who do you think James Comey cares about? Peter Strzok and the lovely Lisa Page? You think James Comey cares about Peter Strzok? You think James Comey cares about Andrew McCabe? You think maybe Durham is looking at Peter Strzok and Andrew McCabe? You think maybe Strzok and McCabe are saying, hey, we were told to do everything by Comey? You think maybe they're all turning on each other? You think maybe Peter Strzok's text messages will stop Trump? He has an answer for that? Like, oh, well, Comey, this was part of the higher up, above my pay grade type thing. So they're all going to turn on each other. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. You heard right now that James Comey... You heard that James Comey is ready to testify. Sorry. Sorry, the levels. You hear that he's ready to testify against McCabe. Paul Bartlett, thank you. Sorry about that. How are the levels now? Sorry. How are the microphone levels? Microphone check. How are the microphone levels now, ladies and gentlemen? Tell me, how are they? How are the microphone levels? So the point is, Teresa King, thank you. Thank you, Teresa. So, you have... Thank you, JG. David, thank you. So you have these people turning on one another. They're going to turn on one another. And it's just a matter of time. Rome was not built in a day. Eric, thank you. By the way, Eric and Luke, thank you. Everyone subscribe to Eric's Odyssey and YouTube channel, Eric H526. Give the 1,160 viewers, yes, the your Odyssey channel and your YouTube channel. And ladies and gentlemen, Paul, thank you again. Teresa King, thank you. To my super chat, thank you. To the 1,100 plus, to almost 1,200 viewers. There's a channel that I have, the Stock Market Crash channel. Subscribe right now to the Stock Market Crash channel. I have been predicting a stock market crash channel for a stock market crash for several months now. And this thing is going to, ladies and gentlemen, implode. We're going to have a financial crisis. We have an all-time high in margin debt. We have an all-time high in margin debt. We have inflation that's running rampant. We have $10 trillion pumped into the economy. Ebenezer Adams, can you hear me now? If they ate each other, all I want. is for them to take bigger bites. Exactly. Thank you so very much, Ebenezer. Thank you. I can't thank you enough. Ebenezer Adams, thank you. Thank you, Ebenezer, as always. Ebenezer Adams, thank you so very much. Jean-Louis. Sounds like the DNC is going to be buying them all plane tickets to beautiful tropic. Jean-Louis, thank you. USA kicks butt, thank you. Boris crashing. USA, thank you. Ebenezer, I can't thank you enough, Ebenezer. I can't thank you enough. Thank you so very, very much. Ebenezer, thank you. Thank you so very much to my super chat. Thank you. Ebenezer Adams, thank you. But subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I'm telling everybody here as I thank the super chat. And, you know, ask for super chat because that's the only way I can do these live streams. But I am urging everybody, save your money every month to the 1,000 plus people. We are going to have a stock market crash. We're going to have a financial crisis from the stock market crash. Save your money every month. We have an all-time high in margin debt. We have a labor shortage. We have a supply chain that's broken. We have 60, 70 cargo and container ships anchored outside of Long Beach. Hundreds of cargo and container ships anchored outside of China. Energy prices are through the roof. Natural gas is doubled. People are going to be spending more for energy costs. Prices are going up. Corporate profits will decline. Stimulus and quantitative easing will halt. Fed tapering will begin. The stock market will implode. You're talking about over 20, 30% down, loss within a week. We have a derivatives nightmare. Trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in derivatives that will bankrupt hedge funds like Archegos. We are heading towards a fiscal catastrophe or a financial or economic catastrophe. Save your money every single month because you want to have a rainy day photo. I mean, you want to have a rainy day fund. If God forbid, you lose your job or your source of income, if you've made money in Bitcoin, if you've made money in equities or Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, take some profit off the table. Put money in a savings account so you have liquidity, so you have a safety net. If you made profits in the stock market, make sure that you have enough money saved up for 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 months of savings, at least. And if you're about to retire, my humble opinion, you would be out of your mind to be in the market within the next year. If you're about to retire within the next year, you'd be out of your mind. I'm not telling you what to do, but you'd be out of your mind to retire, to stay in the market, knowing how volatile it is and knowing that it could drop within the next year 20 to 40 to 50%. That's just my humble opinion. But like I say, Biden he's driving us towards a financial calamity. We have energy prices, fossil fuels that are through the roof in terms of price. Okay? This is renewable energy is good. Climate change should be addressed, but we have to live in reality. Reality is that natural gas prices have doubled. Oil is at a 7-year high. And people are going to be paying more money. Inflation is through the roof. People are not, consumer spending is at a low, not seen since 2008. Consumer price index, producer price index, the Baltic Dry Shipping Index, every economic indicator is pointing to a catastrophe. They're all at all-time highs in terms of price. So you have an all-time high in margin debt because of the $10 trillion in fiscal and monetary stimulus. Interest rates are going to go up eventually, and the quantitative easing is going to end. When that takes place, you don't want to be in the stock market because it's going to tank. And that is, we already have Evergrande and other catastrophes in China and other countries. So the debt crisis is serious. Mad Cow Mark, thank you. Indictments are fine, but guilty convictions is what I want to see. As we have already seen, indictments can lead to nothing. That's true. I agree with you on that. Ebenezer Adams, thank you so very much. Bill, thank you. Ebenezer Adams, thank you so very much. My goodness, I have 1,200 viewers, and I have to go in less than 5 minutes. Wow. I would love to spend more time. My goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, Ebenezer Adams, Mad Cow Mark, the next 5 minutes for 1,200 viewers, I'll just tell you, subscribe to my Stock Market Crash channel below. Look, save your money every month. If you're in Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, I'm not telling you to do anything other than if you want to take some profits off the table, because your Bitcoin could go from 60,000 to 10,000 in 2 weeks. The market can go down 40% in 2 weeks. Make sure you have a rainy day fund. Make sure if you've made money in the stock market or in cryptocurrencies that you have money in a bank that it's liquid, that you can take out. Liquidity is going to be the most important thing for the next year. Liquidity, which, by the way, banks are not giving out loans. Why are banks not giving out loans? Why are banks not giving out loans anymore when you have $10 trillion in stimulus and fiscal and monetary stimulus? Why are banks not giving out mortgage loans anymore? Why is it more difficult? Why is it difficult now to get a business loan? Why are banks holding on to the cash they have? Why aren't banks lending money? Okay? Why aren't banks lending money when you have an economic recovery in Biden's America? Answer me that. Why aren't the banks now, if we're in a recovery, lending money? Because they know that there's a huge problem. Let's go, Brandon. The potato. Ian Moyer. Ian, I can't thank you enough. Ian, I hope all is well. Let's go, Brandon. Absolutely. Ian Moyer, thank you. Thank you, Ian. Ebenezer Adams. Ebenezer. Thank you, Ebenezer Adams. Thank you. The derivatives bubble is about 6 times the GDP of every country on earth. That's true. China owns the pin. Unless you know your way around options contracts, you should tread warily in the market. Absolutely. Ebenezer Adams. Options and, well, derivatives contracts of all kinds. Options are very, very risky, and I agree with you. And the option, as you know, the options, if people are buying calls and they're expecting the market to go up like most people, and the market descends 20 to 50% in 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month, all of those options go south. People lose so much money. Ian Moyer, thank you. Let's go, Brandon. Ian. Ebenezer Adams, I thank you so very much, Ebenezer. Thank you so very, very much. I agree 100% with you. I agree 100% with you, and I appreciate your support greatly. Ladies and gentlemen, ask yourself why banks aren't giving out loans now. Ask yourself why prices are at an all-time high. Why did we miss by 300,000 jobs? Why did we miss by 300,000 jobs? Ladies and gentlemen, why did we miss by 300,000 jobs in terms of the estimates, the job report? Ebenezer Adams, Ian Moyer, Mad Cow Mark, why did we miss by 300,000 jobs? Okay? Why did we miss by 300,000 jobs in a recovery? And then they say unemployment went down and unemployment went down and the inflation is transitory. Do you think that inflation is transitory? Of course it's not. It's running rampant. Ladies and gentlemen, last minute or so, 2 minutes, I apologize. I have to go. I'll try to be back later tonight, or I'll do an upload tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I have 1,200 people on right now watching, or 1,100 people. Every single person here. Here's the Stock Market Crash channel. Every single person here. Prepare yourself for a financial crisis because Biden's infrastructure bill is opposed. Biden's infrastructure bill is imposed by the National Association of Manufacturers, who said 1 million jobs are going to be lost within 2 years. Democrats in Congress are not focused on economic growth. They want to tax you. They want to raise taxes, not just on corporate tax, but on investments. And the point is not, this is not a time to start taxing people. This is not a time to start taxing people, but they're doing it. It's not a time to tax people. It's not a time to focus on climate change at this very moment. It's not a time to focus on anything but economic growth. We have a country that is going to experience, because of $10 trillion pumped into the economy, because the original sin was they ended all economic activity, and then we just tried to turn the light back on, and the supply chain is broken. We have labor shortages in docks, dock workers, truckers. We have a society now, a media, and a Democratic Party, and a political elite focusing on everything but getting the country back on track. And we're going to have a financial collapse because of that. We have a all-time high in margin debt, and as Ebenezer Adams correctly stated, Ebenezer Adams knows a great deal about all of this. The derivatives contracts in the world are $1 quadrillion, 1,000 trillion. Okay? That is like a nuclear issue. USA kicks butt, thank you. Thank you, USA kicks butt. Ebenezer, Mad Cow Mark, Ian, as always, thank you. USA kicks butt, thank you. We have USA kicks butt, thank you so very, very much, thank you. We have a $1 quadrillion derivatives fiasco. A $1 quadrillion in the world, not in the U.S., in the world. That's the size of, and it is not regulated by Dodd-Frank. Last minute here. It is not regulated. The derivatives contracts, for the most part, and Ebenezer, I'm sure, knows this, are not regulated by Dodd-Frank. The Democrats did not put the derivatives laws in play. They did not actually enforce or specifically pass them. Actually, they passed them, but they haven't implemented them. The Securities and Exchange Commission has not implemented the derivatives contract laws. I repeat, the Securities Exchange Commission has not implemented the derivatives contracts laws. We do not know how much debt there is in the financial system. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. Ebenezer Adams, Ian, Mad Cow Mark, USA Kicks Books, Leanna Connolly. Banks are hogging cash. The bill is the nail in the coffin on purpose. To what end, I'm not sure. After crash, how long before we recover, or do we? I think it's probably going to take Liana 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years after. I would say a year and a half, 2 years after the crash. I don't think it's going to be quick. I would say a year and a half at least. Liana, thank you so very, very much. USA kicks butt. Ian, Ebenezer, everybody here. Oh my God, why do I have to go now? JG, always a pleasure and an honor. JG. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll try to be back tonight around 11, or I'll have an upload. God bless you all. Thank you, Ebenezer, Ian, everybody here. Liana, Mad Cow Mark, everybody here. To my super chat, thank you to the 1,200 people watching. Thank you. Save your money every month, ladies and gentlemen. Prepare for a devastating financial crisis. I'll do another Durham Probe segment tomorrow evening at around 6:30 p.m. Thanks, everybody. God bless. And to my super chat, thank you, Tig, Appleton, Wisconsin. Thank you, Tig. Thank you so very much, everybody. Tig, everybody, thank you. God bless you all and stay safe. And prepare financially for a financial crisis. We are heading towards a financial crisis. Prepare.